Hello people of the internet, it's Yamada, and for today's video, we're going to be talking about a drama that I personally wouldn't really pick up if it wasn't for the cast, but it turned out to be a pretty interesting watch anyways. I'm talking about Shincho Kouki Classmate wa Sengoku Busho, which stars Kimpuri's Nagase Ren. Now, what's interesting about this one is I mentioned this in a previous video before because Kimpuri's latest single, Trace Trace, was made for the OST of the drama, but I don't think I've ever really talked about it in detail, so that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. I have some notes right here because of the plot and the cast is just so, like, there's just a lot of things going on in this particular drama, so allow me to have references, okay? Now the story starts, the story is set in the future, so there's a lot of like futuristic flying stuff happening. There are lightsabers and stuff, so yeah, it's definitely quirky and campy in a way. But it revolves around the character of Yamada Ana's Kusakabe Miyabi. Miyabi's father is a historian, but he expresses a sentiment that not a lot of people care about history anymore, especially considering how futuristic and modern everything's become. However, because of the influence of her father, Miyabi wanted to be a historian, and she's very much interested in Japanese history. Now, enter high school, and she meets her classmates, which are made up of different kinds of delinquents. But what's interesting about them is that they're named after warlords who reigned during the time of the Sengoku period, with Nagase Ren's character being Oda Nobunaga. Now, whether or not you're a Japanese history geek, you'll definitely pick up a lot of interesting things about this drama, and I feel like for people who studied like Asian history and world history during their high school days or their college days, some of these names would resonate with you even if you couldn't exactly remember what they're good for. So this drama would probably like reignite your interest in that. The cast is also like, the cast also includes Nishihata Daigo from Naniwa Danshi as Toyotomi Hideyoshi, Miura Shohei as Date Masamune, Mitsushima Shinosuke as Takeda Shingen, and other people in the plot. Like, for example, there's also Ozawa Yukiyoshi as Tokugawa Ieyasu, and so many more. So yeah, so as you've heard, a lot of familiar names from Asian/Japanese history, but again, you don't necessarily have to like do your research before watching the drama, because I think that's the premise of it, is basically to refresh you as to who these people are without necessarily being too preachy or school-like, you know? So it's definitely a fictionalized version of Japanese history, and there's definitely a lot of liberties taken into the narrative. But it's just a fun watch altogether. And eventually, Miyabi's character learns that classmates are actually clones of the warlords, and the reason for it is because it's like a social experiment or a social study as to how these warlords would be like if they're set in the modern world. So it's basically them trying to dominate the school for being the top one, if you will, but in a more chaotic type of setup and stuff like that, because according to the initial parts of the series, these classmates or these clones don't exactly know that they're cloned and just think that they're named after these legendary warlords. Now, there's a lot of suspension of belief happening. There's definitely a lot of like slapstick humor and just a lot of like very hyperbolic stuff happening in this plot. And to think that the characters are supposedly playing 15-year-olds, but obviously a lot of these characters look way older than the age range that they're supposed to be portraying. But that definitely adds to the humor and the overall comedy of the plot. So I don't want to spoil like actual plot points and stuff, but the thing with this story is there's always like the setup of like competition between these characters, between other delinquents and stuff like that, and Miyabi is this character who's re-exploring the history through these reincarnations or clones of the characters that she's only familiar with through history text. and she kind of like develops this bond between them as well, and it's kind of like this immersive experience of being there and understanding who they are outside of the usual context that they're put in. So again, there's definitely a lot of creative liberties that went into the narrative. Not a lot of it, like, you shouldn't take this as an educational, historical reference, if you will, but I definitely think that, especially for younger audiences, for younger tiaras who are fans of Kimpuri who went to watch it because of Ren, it might help ignite interest in terms of who these characters are, might help with, I don't know, reviewing for history class or whatever. But yeah, I mean, overall, like, the premise of it is basically just these warlords posed as high school students trying to battle it out to be number one. That's basically the premise of it. Now, even if it's definitely just quirky and funny, it has a witty and smart way of delivering, its narrative. And at the same time, I do feel like it's kind of like smartly done in a way. There are a lot of like puns happening, which was a pain for the people who subbed this drama for sure, translating all those nuances in Japanese into English for the English speaking audience to understand. So definitely a lot of that. But it's also very, very smartly done. I do feel like some of the episodes feel like a lot lengthier, like it can drone on, and I do feel like it would have worked better for like a 20-minute, 30-minute format as compared to 45 to almost stretching to almost an hour long episodes. I do feel like, snappier episodes would have probably made it a bit more effective, but maybe just my opinion on the matter. But there's definitely just a lot of like fun things happening here. And what I love about it is, no matter how silly and just caricaturish the plot and the narrative and the portrayals are, the drama still kind of emphasizes the importance of touching base with history. I'm so sorry about the weird lighting and the sound because there's an actual storm happening as I'm filming this. That's definitely one of the things that I love about it, is its emphasis on just history and the idea of it, and why preserving it and learning about it, no matter what way is convenient for you, as long as you stick to what's factual and like learning lessons from it rather than learning it as something that's stagnant, is very, very important. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons that the drama was able to convey, no matter how comedic or funny it is. So yeah, from the amazing performance of the cast, I do feel like they did a really good job in terms of making this drama fun. I really, really like it that Ren was able to make this role work, because his past roles, he tends to go on the more like mysterious or timid type of characters with Mayoto, with Yowamushi Pedal, and all those other things. So now here he was able to show his like funny, quirky, smart kind of side, and I really, really like that. And there's definitely this level of ridiculousness in the plot I do feel like is something that Ren really made effective as the main lead for it. So yeah, I have to say that this drama might not be for everyone, considering, as I mentioned, there's definitely a lot of like slapstick humor, and it kind of gets a little bit like, it drones on and on a little bit for quite some time, and there's a lot of just silliness to it. So if you're not really into that kind of humor and comedy, you might not enjoy this. But it definitely gets better. For me, it gets better as the episodes go along, and as we look into the backstory of some of the characters, like, it balances comedy and melodrama just right, and I really, really like that about it. So yeah, with that said, so tell me down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on this drama? Do you plan to see it? Do you want to watch it? If you watch it, what do you like about it? And yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel and you would want to hear more from me, please hit subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video. And again, I'm so sorry for the switching quality. The weather outside is just crazy and I hope everyone stays safe. But yeah, thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you again soon in a new video. Bye!